Okay, so let's get started. Again, thank you guys so much for taking the time out to take advantage of this opportunity to grow. I am going to start sharing my screen. Just give me a second. Okay, let's get started. So, I'd like to start out by telling you my story. And I believe by telling you my story, you will get some inspiration and start to develop your own story. In fact, your story is already in progress. And I'm hoping that my story will inspire you to continue your story and eventually achieve success. Okay? So here we go. The 1970s. And this takes me back to the days when I would find a little spot in what I call the utility room or the wash house of my parents' home. And I remember role playing, pretending that I was a teacher. And then there'd be there was a calculator in there. And I used to love the sound of it. You know, we had those old calculators that had like an arm on the end. You would crank it and it would make a sound and it would sound so official. So I love to use that. And so I pretend as if I was in my own business, like a store owner or something. And between being a teacher and being a store owner with my calculator, that was how I passed my time. And when I think about those days, it brings such joy because those were childhood memories that I totally enjoyed. So I want you to hold on to that story because you'll see why. Just hold on to that story. Okay? So here it is now. I finished high school and then I went on to the College of the Bahamas. And now I recall, this was in the 80s. I went to see the counselor, Mrs. Reese, a wonderful lady, and she said to me, "So what do you want to study? What's your major going to be?" And I said, I'm not sure. Really, I had no clue. I didn't know what I wanted to study. So she asked me two questions. She said, first question she asked me was, okay, so as a child, go back to your childhood days. And as a child, what did you play? What was your role play, right? What were the games you liked to play? Where did you find pleasure? And I thought about that utility room or washroom experience where I pretend to be a teacher and sometimes pretend to be a business person. Okay. And the second question she asked me was, what are your favorite subjects in class, in school, in high school? What were they? What were the subjects where you excelled without any difficulty? Those subjects that were your A subjects and you didn't even have to put in the effort. So I thought about it and I said, you know what, French and Spanish and English language, those are my strongest subjects. So she said, okay. So start crafting your thoughts around those two questions. So I thought about it. Now, my best friend at the time, her mom was an offshore banker. And I used to go with her after school on Fridays to her mom's office. And listen, I was just enthralled by that. And I said, this is what I want to do. But Mrs. Reese said to me, she said, based on what you're telling me, I think you need to be a teacher. And I said, nope, I don't want to be a teacher. Although something deep within me told me, yes, that's a good plan for you. But see, I didn't want to be a teacher because, okay, let me put it this way. My mother was a civil servant, right? I had two aunts that were teachers. So when I looked at my friend's mom, who was in investment banking, and what I saw was teachers and civil servants, when I think about the money, what do you think? I didn't want to be a teacher because at that age, I was interested in making it big. I was after the money, honey. That was it, right? So I decided to pursue the associate's degree in French and Spanish. And then I planned that I would eventually go off to the United States and complete a bachelor's degree in business administration, because I figured that was a winning combination to get me that job, to land me my dream job in the private banking sector. Okay. So here's some food for thought for you guys. If you don't have, if you have something to write, I prefer if you write it down, because writing helps you to remember. What did I dream of becoming as a child? That's the first question. Second question, which subjects are my strongest subjects? Now you are still in high school, so that should be easy for you to answer. Write those two questions down and keep it somewhere that you can have a look at it and think about it, even after our conversation. Okay. So here we go on to career. So shortly before graduation, I started sending out resumes. And of course, I only sent resumes to private banks because that was my dream job. And lo and behold, I got an answer from Bank America Trust offering me a job as a junior accountant. So I literally left university, came home and went straight to work. I had landed my dream job. Hey, I was on the way to the money that I wanted. So my career advanced, continued to advance. My private banking career continued to advance. And so I went on from Bank America and I had another job in another trust company. And so my title started to elevate from the client accountant, junior client accountant, went on to being a client accountant, went on to being an accounting supervisor. Eventually, in that role as accounting supervisor, one day, my human resources manager came to me and said, can you help me out? Because her assistant was on maternity leave. And I said to her, absolutely. So I had to leave my accounting duties and go and help her. But not only did I help her by doing those tasks, I realized that some of what she was doing was keeping her back. So with the knowledge that I had, I started to set up some spreadsheets for her and to take her to another level in terms of efficiency, right? Trying to help her out to be more efficient in doing her tasks. And she appreciated that. But something else happened. More than her appreciating it, I got an appreciation for human resources. I said, hey, I like this thing. Remember now, I was still in the accounting seat. And guess what happened next? She saw that I was hungry for it. She saw the value that I could bring to that area. And so she offered me a full-time position in that department, the HR, to join the HR team. And that's how my evolution into HR began. And guess what? I will put a little tap on it right there and say to you, if there is something that you find out that you love to do, you have to be hungry. You have to be hungry. You have to really want it. And I say that to say this. I didn't have any experience in human resources. I didn't even have a degree in human resources. But I knew that there was something about it that was attracting me to this field. So I went to the lady and I said to her, listen, I want to do some courses. She said, absolutely. And guess what happened? They paid for my courses, even paid for a master's degree for me. So you have to be hungry and you have to be a lifelong learner. You have to want it. Don't put any limitations on yourself. So here I am pondering. I had gained a lot of success even as a human resource professional. Went up the ladder, assistant vice president, deputy vice president, and eventually vice president of human resources. But I remember sitting in my office and looking out of the window and saying, there must be more. And I started to have those moments more frequently. There must be more. There must be more people that I need to reach. There must be some other areas that I need to go into to make a greater impact. Yes, I've mastered my job, the technical skills, I had that. But there must be more. You know, when there's this deep burning within you saying there's more to do, then guess what? There's more to do. So, did I make the steps to do more? Yes, I started looking at where's my passion? HR, I knew HR. And the crux of HR is people. So I went to my first love, which is people. And I said, you know what? I'm going to develop a business that will give me more reach and more opportunities to help people. See, and I saw the issues and the problems in the corporate world, you know, the way people treat people, the way people marginalize people. And if there's something that irks you, if there's a problem that stands out and it resonates with you, that's a very good inclination, a very good clue that that's what you were born to solve, a problem you were born to solve. And so I set about establishing my company, developing a company to do exactly that, to grow people, to train people. You see where it's going? Right back to those childhood role plays. Then on November 3rd, during COVID, and COVID was quite a catastrophic event for the world, right? And in the Bahamas, we were also, you know, affected, still being affected by COVID. However, I always like to look for the light at the end of the tunnel. Remember those lockdowns that we had? You know, when everybody was complaining about the lockdowns. I saw a blessing in disguise with those lockdowns, because the lockdowns were, I credit the lockdowns to the unlocking of my calling. It gave me time to introspect. It gave me time to actually sit down and figure out what's next for my life, what's next for my career. And that's where Hepzibah was born. So here it is. On November 3rd, 2020, I got a 3-minute call. 3-minute call came, which changed the trajectory of my entire life. It was my managing director letting me know that because of COVID, there had to be a downsizing exercise. And of course, I was one of those people being downsized. Life happens. But when a career ends, then what? So I call this from career to calling. So let's talk about the power of the why. See, your why is your calling, connected to your calling. Your why is your purpose. All right? So if you weren't taking notes before, I strongly urge you to take notes now. This is going to change your life, guaranteed. Okay, so there are 3 questions that I'd like you to jot down to ask yourself even after we're done. First one, what would I do for free? What would I do for free? Second question, what am I really, really good at? Now, you might have a lot of things that you're good at, but there is something that you're really, really good at, something that stands out. What is that? And the third question, what am I passionate about? Where's my passion? Where does my passion lie? And the passion is that thing that you think about all the time. The thing that will cause you to stay up late because you need to do it. You need to get it done. You know, the very thing that keeps you, that makes you thrive, that energizes you. What am I passionate about? 3 questions. If you answer those 3 questions, you would have found your purpose and then you're ready to step into your calling. Okay. So when you find your why, you answer those questions and you find your why, success comes. But even more than success comes significance. And what is the difference between success and significance? Significance goes a little further than success. Because you can be successful and it benefits you. But when you tap into significance, the difference is you bring others along with you. You leave a legacy. And that's why it is so important to answer the question of what is my why, right? I love it the way John Maxwell puts it. He says, when you find your why and you start moving towards it, you soon find your wow. You soon find your wow. Find your why, start moving towards it. And wow is the result. So now let's look at specifically the competencies, the skills and the behaviors that you need to succeed, okay? You want to be an entrepreneur. You want to have a career in HR or a career in the secretarial field or whatever your career aspiration is. There are certain skills and behaviors that are required in order for you to succeed. There's no shortcut, right? And so we're going to talk about briefly hard skills, what are IQ, called IQ, your soft skills called emotional intelligence or EQ, and then competencies and behaviors that you need to succeed. So what are the hard skills? And researchers have concluded that today, in order to succeed in your career, you need hard skills make up 20% of what you need to succeed in a career. Now, a lot of people would say, guess what? My IQ, my intelligence, that's what landed me a job. Yeah, it might land you a job. But in order to succeed, researchers say that hard skills only account for 20% of your success on a job. And these are those skills that are acquired through formal education, like what you're getting right now at school, what you will get if you go to university, right? Now, hard job success requires a combination of hard and soft skills. So if hard skills are 20% of success, then we know that soft skills play a greater part in success in your career, right? We're not saying that it's 80%, but we're saying it's a part of the remaining 80% of job success, okay? So that I think it's worth looking at that. So now let's look at soft skills. The number one soft skill that is required is self-awareness. And what is self-awareness? Listen, when you leave the safety net of your teachers, your school administrators, your parents, your JA advisors, right? And you enter that corporate jungle. And I say corporate jungle because that's what it is. You must know who you are. And that's what self-awareness is all about. If you don't know who you are, you become who people perceive you to be. And if you don't know who you are, you fit into somebody else's mold. So the first soft skill that you need to master is self-awareness. I remember my former principal from St. Anne's, Muriel Ania, she used to say, what you are speaks so clearly. I cannot even hear what you're saying. In other words, what you show people, what you are, you don't even have to speak because people see that. And so you have to be careful of the perception that you give to people. You have to know yourself. To thine own self be true. Have you heard that before? Yes, you have to know what your shortcomings are, what your fears are, what your inhibitions are, what your strengths are. If you don't know who you are, you become who people expect you to be, who people want you to be, who people perceive you to be. Okay? So when you have self-awareness, you possess confidence and you exude that confidence. And when people see confidence, they want to connect with you. When you enter a room for an interview, if you don't have confidence, you already put yourself out. Okay. So let me ask you this question. Who do you see when you look in the mirror? Do you see that kitten? Or do you see a lion? Self-awareness, that's the first soft skill that you need to master. So here's a growth nugget. I'm giving you these growth nuggets after each of these skills because these growth nuggets are quotes that come from very famous people who had humble beginnings. And this one here, I love it, Miles Monroe. The picture that we have of ourselves, self-awareness, will always determine how we respond to life. The picture that we have of ourselves, remember that mirror, the kitten and the lion? The picture that we have of ourselves will always determine how we respond to life. Miles Monroe, a Baintown boy who became famous all over the world because of his message on purpose. His legacy lives on because he walked in his calling. Remember, I talked about significance versus success. So soft skills too, and everybody knows who this guy is, right? I know who this guy is. Usain Bolt, right? His quote is, discipline is what it takes to be successful. So we're going to talk a bit about self-discipline. So what is self-discipline? Self-discipline is that which wakes you up early every morning to prepare yourself to arrive at your job, to arrive at school, not on time, but early. Self-discipline is what pushes you to show up even when you're tired instead of calling in sick or taking a day off. Self-discipline is what motivates you to say no when your friends say, let's go, and you can't because you have things to do. Self-discipline is that act of pushing yourself, even now as a student, so that you can achieve your career goals or your goals of being a business owner. Discipline is what it takes to be successful. I'm going to share a growth nugget with you now. If you don't program yourself, life will program you. Absolutely. Les Brown, one of my mentors. Les Brown was adopted, okay? Considered mentally retarded. Became a disc jockey, lost his job, ended up mowing people's lawn, ended up on the back of a garbage truck even. And do you know that today, Les Brown is a billionaire because he found his calling. He uses his voice. His gift is in his voice. He's a motivational speaker. But he always speaks about how it took discipline to get where he is at. There's no difference between you and Les Brown. If he can do it, you can do it too. But if you don't program yourself, life will program you. The third soft skill, empathy. And listen, as a human resource professional, I can tell you, empathy will be one of the top competencies that you must possess. And what is empathy? It's putting yourself in other people's shoes, right? How would I feel if it were me? Asking yourself that question when situations arise. I can recall an incident where an irate manager came into HR to complain about a staff member. The staff member was always snoozing at his desk. This manager was irate and wanted this guy fired. I've had it. So we called in the young man, had to talk with him, and found out he had been diagnosed with sleep apnea. And that was preventing him from paying attention, staying focused, and staying awake He had an issue, a medical issue. That's empathy at work. Empathy is you care enough to ask the right questions without blaming or assuming. Okay, that's empathy. And here's a growth nugget on empathy. People follow you, not because of what you know, but they follow you because of how much you care. When people know that you care, you're able to influence them. So it's not so much that IQ, but it's that EQ, emotional intelligence. How much do you care? Soft skill 4, social skills. We need social skills in order to thrive in any environment. But for the purpose of what we're talking about, the corporate world, a career in HR or the secretarial field, or even as an entrepreneur, right? You have to love people. That's it. You must love people. So if you say, I'm not a people's person, then there's a little problem there, right? Because you have to build relationships. You have to learn how to build relationships. And these skills can be learned. Soft skills can be learned. So we can change if we're willing to change. Life is all about relationships. And more than ever in this virtual environment where you find these hybrid situations. Some people are at the office, others are at home. How do we keep the team together? So even more than ever, relationship and social skills are going to be more and more ever increasingly important in the workplace. How do you get along with others? You might say, well, I'm alone, I like to work alone. That doesn't work. We have to be team builders. And how do we become team builders? How do we build rapport? Communication is the key, right? So the Harvard Business Review, listen to this, the Harvard Business Review ranks the #1 soft skill concerning growth as communication. Communication. If you know how to communicate, you know how to connect with people. When you connect with people, you're able to influence, right? And particularly, in human resources, communication is important. And communication is more than just speaking. It's giving people the right eye contact when you speak with them. It's your body language when you answer a question or you speak with them. It shows people that you're in it. You know, you're not detached from what they're saying. You now need to learn how to lean in and show people that, yes, I'm here, I'm listening. So these are important social skills that you have to master in order to succeed. So here's the growth nugget. John Maxwell, if you haven't realized it yet, I love his whole philosophy. Teamwork makes the dream work, right? It's easy to go alone, but you go farther together. Teamwork makes the dream work. Social skills. Okay, so now let's look at the competencies. So we've looked so far, just to recap, we've looked so far at what are the hard skills, we've looked at the soft skills. And now we are going to look at those competencies, which are the behaviors and skills that we need to succeed in a career. All right. You guys know this fellow, Kobe Bryant, right? Humility. That's the first thing that we're going to talk about, the first competency that we're going to talk about, the first behavior that we're going to talk about. I'll tell you the story of a secretary. I call it the secretary's story. A young lady was working in the hotel industry, but she too wanted more. She didn't like that shift system. She felt there was more for her. A job offer came up, but it was for a messenger in an offshore bank. Should I take that job as a messenger? But some family members felt that that was below her. She shouldn't take the job. Well, anyway, she decided to take the job. Long story short, today, that young lady, because of her humility, she didn't think herself too big for that job. She wanted more, and she was willing to start at the bottom. Today, and this is a true story, that young lady is now a vice president, executive board member of that exact same bank. Why? Because of humility. She is one of the most humble people you will ever want to meet. Never think you're too good or too big to do anything. Start at the bottom. You never know where you'll end up. Okay, so the second thing is, second behavioral skill, hunger. Remember this infamous fall. This infamous, not fall, dive by Shawnee Miller, right? This won her the gold medal because she was hungry. Listen, she went into that race and she said, nobody's going to take this medal from me. I want it. And she was willing to do what it took. She took that dive. You have to want it so badly, young people, that you will take a dive for it. So you want to be the best secretary. You want to be the best manager. You want to be the best HR professional. You want to be the best entrepreneur. Hungry people put in the hours when everyone else is watching the clock. Mm-hmm. Hungry people are lifelong learners. Never stop learning. You never arrive. Les Brown says, you have to be hungry. And to be hungry means to do the things that other people won't do to arrive where other people won't arrive. Because you're so willing to go the extra mile. Your gold medal is waiting for you, but you have to be hungry. Third thing, a spirit of excellence. Excellence is not a singular act, I like this, but a habit. It's a habit. You have to get into a habit of excellence. Everything that you do has to be seasoned with excellence, right? You guys are part of the Generation Z, the Gen Z. And according to the Harvard Business Review, there are 69 million of you who will be entering the workforce in 2025, by 2025. Can you imagine that? Globally, 69 million young people just like you who will be entering the workforce. So definitely you need excellence. You have to stand out, right? But what will make you stand out? That's a huge number. What will make you stand out? What will make you marketable even globally on the global stage? Excellence is how you show up and show out, not show off. Show up and show out. You have to be excellent in the way you present yourself, your physical appearance. That's the first thing that people see. If they don't know you, they sum you up in about 3 seconds, they got you. They sum you right up. Then it's how you conduct yourself. Are you going to be loud and boisterous, or are you going to present yourself with poise? Then excellence must show up in the work that you produce. You land the job, but how do you keep it? Excellence is how you keep it, because you produce the best work. The service you provide. That's how you're going to keep your business. For those of you who want to be entrepreneurs, how are you going to set your business above everybody else's business? How are you going to be the employer of choice? Excellent service. A spirit of excellence will set you apart. Excellence is a habit. This is a big one, integrity. And what is integrity? Integrity is doing the right thing, even when nobody else is watching. When nobody's watching you, you have that standard that you've set because you want to do the right thing. As a secretary, as an HR professional, you're privy to very confidential information, right? As a business owner, integrity is the standard that you need to set. And that's why people will come looking for you, because they know that, hey, this person does what they deliver the service that they say they're going to deliver. Putting your money where your mouth is, right? So what do you do when people give you secrets? Think about that. When people share secrets with you, can you be trusted to keep them? And it's the same thing in the workplace. When you're privy to personnel files, when people confide in you about issues that they're having, maybe on the job and at home as an HR professional, what do you do with that information? A spirit of integrity will cause you to tuck that away, tuck that information away and not to share it. Or are you going to pick up the phone and say, guess what I know? Integrity, that's what sets you apart. Self-confidence. This is the last skill, behavior that we're going to, competency that we're going to look at. Self-confidence. If you believe in yourself and have the dedication and pride, you will be a winner. The price of victory is high, but so are the rewards. None of anything that I spoke about would be possible if you're lacking self-confidence. You have to believe in yourself. You have to believe in yourself. When your confidence is low, people see it. People read you like a book. You'll never get a seat at the table. And as an HR professional, I have interviewed hundreds of people. And you know what it comes down to? Not the glowing resume, not the educational background. Yes, that lands you an interview. But the candidate that walks into the room exuding self-confidence, they already have the edge, right? See, the idea is that we can train people to do jobs. We can always train you to do something. If you have the basic educational background, we can train you. But if you walk in there with confidence, if you walk in there without confidence, we're not going to invest in training you. On the other hand, you walk in there with confidence, you conduct yourself with confidence. And listen, we're already drawn to you now. And we say, hey, she might not have all of the qualifications that we're looking for, but I like her. We can groom her. We can coach her. We can train her. So self-confidence is what you need to succeed. So here we are at the end of the presentation. This slide says, dream big, set goals, take action. The most important lesson that I want to leave with you today is this. You hold the keys to your success. It's in your hands. Yes, you have your dreams, and they need to be big dreams. Absolutely, dream big. But they require action before they can become reality. So start with the dream, write the vision, write it down, write the vision, and then go after it with all of the gusto that you have, with all of your might. Go hard, they say, or go home. Listen, remember my story. I came full circle. I had a dream. Came full circle. And now that I look back, I'm actually living the childhood dreams that I was running from in Mrs. Reese's office. I have a business that's now training and growing and developing people. However, before you do any of that, the dreaming, the vision, writing the vision, taking action, your why must be discovered first and foremost. You have to find your why, your purpose. That's where it starts, right? So remember the questions for today. What would I do for free? What am I really good at? What am I passionate about? The answer to those three questions is where you will find your purpose. And when you find your purpose, you find your will, that very thing that drives you. You have this will to do it. It energizes you to do it. When you find your why, you find your way, the direction, the course for your life. And when you find your why, you find your wings. And you know, when you find your wings, there's just no stopping you. You just keep on soaring. And so with that, I say thank you for this opportunity. Thank you so much for allowing me to share some insights with you today. And I hope it was a blessing to you. Have a good afternoon. I'm here for questions if anybody has any questions.
Thank you so much, Ms. Taylor. Thank you again for participating in the Bahama Jack Conference. I am sure the students who are on the call took some good nuggets from your presentation. And like I said, your presentation was recorded, so we will play it back for the students that signed up. Okay?
Okay, thank
Okay.
you very much.
No problem. So thank you everyone for being a part.
Also, I've sorry. Oh, somebody's hand is up.
Oh,
Okay.
Liberty?
Hi, Liberty.
Hello, how long did it take you to create your online business? Now that's launched.
I'd say I started working on it and didn't take long, you know, it probably about during COVID. So this is a year. I'd say a year, 1 year, 1 year to really launch it. And guess what? It's still evolving. It's still evolving. So, you know, adding services, growing the business. It's hard work, but there's a difference between working for somebody and working for yourself. I heard people say that all along, but now I'm living that and I'm understanding that. It's fruitful, it's rewarding, it's hard work, but it's great work, you know, especially when you know that you're contributing to the lives of other people. So it took about a year and it's still evolving. Yes. Thank you for your question, Liberty.